you everyone for coming out and supporting our club. It's so important to be civically engaged, and we just appreciate you being here. Do we have elected officials? I don't want to miss anybody. If you're an elected official, please just stand up so we can recognize you. We have Commissioner Gil Almquist, Councilman Troy Pelliston, Wayne Peterson, Mayor of Leeds, thank you. Is this your first time to our club? I don't think I've seen you. Yes, it is. Welcome, thanks for coming. We have our Washington County Republican Party Chair, Willie Billings, here. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Michelle Tanner's walking in here with baby Bab in the back. And then Commissioner Adam Snow, and Senator Vickers is here. We're glad when we can have our senators with us. We know they're very, very busy, so glad to have them here. And our sheriff-elect, Johnny Hepler, is back here getting some food.
Alexis?
Yes.
I'm Justin Kaplan from Town.
Oh, and Justin's turned her, your back is to me, quit hiding. Justin Kaplan, our Santa Clara City Councilman, is also here. All right, did I miss anybody? Just keep yelling at me if I miss someone. Okay, I do want to also give an opportunity for candidates. If you are a candidate who is running right now, go ahead and stand up so that our club members can get a good look at your face and come hunt you down and ask you questions and vet you. We know these guys are candidates up here, but are there any other candidates? Yes, we did. Yep. Johnny Hepler. So if you need to get to know our sheriff-elect. Okay, all right, we are going to have our prayer by Lori Collier, and she's also doing our Americanism today as well.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together today and for the conservative values we share in this room as Republican men and women. We're grateful for this delicious meal provided to us by Carrie and our staff. May it bless our bodies as you bless the hands that prepared it for us. We're so thankful for our guest speakers today. We welcome Gil Almquist, Troy Pelliston, Bill Hoster, and Victor Iverson for being with us and for the opportunity to hear from each of them and their vision for our county. We're grateful for their desire to serve the citizens of Washington County as commissioners. And Lord, we'd like to give thanks for the signed agreement with Iran. We continue to pray for peace in the Middle East and our troops deployed to that region. We're so grateful for the quick and safe recovery of the Apache helicopter crew members down by Iran last week in the Strait of Hormuz. We're thankful for the Supreme Court ruling that affirmed parents' rights to opt school children out of reading inappropriate books and materials that conflict with their religious beliefs. We also thank you for the 146,000 unaccompanied migrant children who've been located that were lost during the Biden years. And we're also so thankful that our FBI thwarted a terrorist plot on the White House over the weekend at the Freedom 250 event, and for the safety of our president and the thousands who were in attendance. And lastly, we humbly ask for your blessing over the Supreme Court justices as we await upcoming rulings before they break for the summer. May their rulings be sound and in keeping with the Constitution we hold so dear. Also be with each of us as we break for the summer. Guide our paths and protect us with your loving care, especially those who are traveling. We look forward to September when we're all together again. We praise you and thank you for the rich blessings in our lives. And we pray these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. And today's Americanism is titled America's 250th Anniversary, a Time of Remembrance and Rededication. As we prepare to celebrate America's 250th birthday, many Americans are reflecting on the remarkable story of our nation's founding and the role faith has played throughout our history. When our founding fathers declared independence in 1776, they affirmed in the Declaration of Independence that our rights come not from government, but from our Creator. The words, all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, express the belief that human dignity and liberty originate with God himself. While our founders came from different Christian traditions and held varying personal beliefs, there's no doubt that biblical principles influence the culture in which our nation was born. Values we continue to cherish today, such as the worth of every human life, individual responsibility, moral law, religious liberty, and self-government were deeply rooted in the Judeo-Christian worldview that shaped early America. Throughout our nation's history, Americans have repeatedly turned to God during times of challenge and uncertainty, from George Washington's calls for prayer and thanksgiving to Abraham Lincoln's appeals for repentance during the Civil War, and to national days of prayer following times of tragedy. Faith has remained an important part of the American story. As America approaches its 250th anniversary, President Trump participated in the Rededicate 250 event on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. on May 17th. Joined by Christian leaders, elected officials, and thousands of attendees, Americans were invited to rededicate our nation as one nation under God. The day focused on prayer, worship, scripture, gratitude for God's blessings, and a renewed commitment to seek his guidance for our country. For many Christians, the significance of Rededicate 250 goes beyond politics. It serves as a reminder that freedom carries responsibility, that government requires moral character, and that the strength of our nation depends not only on economic or military power, but also on the spiritual health of its people. We're reminded of the scripture, Psalm 33:12, that declares, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." And also the scripture that President Trump read during the America Reads the Bible event. "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land." Found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. For 250 years, providential hand has guided and sustained this nation. As we celebrate our past and look toward the future, let's remain grateful for his blessings, faithful to his truths, and steadfast in preserving the liberties with which we've been blessed. And in doing so, may God continue to bless America for generations to come. And now will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now Kristen Crow will do a membership report for us.
Thank you, Lori. It is so, I asked her to stand here because I wanted to help
You're
you.
gonna be tired of me by the time this is over.
It's so great to see all of you once again. And I have a sneaking suspicion that it might be that some of you might be using today's luncheon as your final decision maker on who to vote for at this table. So, guys, use it wisely. I'm here. We've got a number of birthdays that happened have happened or are happening this month of June. And on your table, there's a little table tent with an elephant representing the Republican Party. And it identifies who the people are this month who are celebrating birthdays that are members of our club. And at this time, would all of you that had a birthday or are having one before the end of June, please stand. Oh, don't be shy. for those of you that don't regularly visit our Facebook page, that for every birthday, there is a custom Facebook post celebrating your birthday. So if you haven't been paying attention, you might want to, especially on your birthday, look at our Facebook page because there's probably going to be a special post just for you. Happy birthday. Now on to membership. Something that I heard several times of late made me very concerned about the reflection of our club and how people perceive our members. And we're a Big Tent club, so we take in all different types of Republicans, and our club does not, at the onset of an election period, veer toward a particular candidate. We're open to all candidates that are Republican candidates. It's once the primaries are over with, then we really go out and full-throated and support the candidates that we have. So please be aware of that and share it with your friends. Our membership itself this year is up for the female members of our club of 118% over last year. And our associate membership, which are all you midfolk, is up, and our gym membership is up. Okay. Those of you that are members and those of you who are responsible for getting people involved in our organization and to join it, thank you so much because you play a big role in our club being recognized, not just here, but at the national level for our membership. So thank you very much. Now, the next thing is some of you have a 250 flag at your place, or you might have these little wristbands. Those are for you to take. So you can use those over the next few weeks to celebrate our 250th. And also, some of you have already done this, but you've bought one of our 250 membership pins, or celebratory pin. So if you still want to buy one great Father's Day gift, see Jennifer and she can hook you up. Now on to recognition of new members that are here with us today. And this is where little Lori comes in. First of all, our new members that are here. Firstly, Diane Hartson, who is a new member. Is Diane here? Yay! Diane Hartson. And Diane is a membership actually, and on the back side, you get one of those pins. And there's also your decal because you're a silver member. Thank you so much. And now we have Stephanie Newbold. Stephanie? Are you there?
I don't think she's here.
Oh, that's too bad. We'll just recognize her in September, which is our next meeting, is in September. And next, Ray Boyer.
She couldn't make it here. You're not feeling well.
Well,
She's sick.
okay. There is sickness going around. Maybe it's pre-election sickness. I don't know. But I know this person is here. And he brought his wife, and hopefully his wife will also join, become a member. And that's our sheriff-elect, Johnny Hepler. And Johnny, a name tag that you can add to all your accessories. And on the back is one of those pins, Andrew DeKalb, because you're a gold member.
Thank you.
Thank you. Judy Stagg. Is Judy Stagg here?
Yeah.
Okay. Judy, there's your decal for your silver membership is on the back of your certificate. Thank you for being a member. And Suzanne Moore. There you are. There you are. And Suzanne also is a silver member. Chad Binion. He ended up, he told me the other night he was coming. Brad. Okay. And Larry Myers? Here? Okay, he's not here either. Okay, then that concludes our folks that are here today that are receiving certificates. Thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you again in September. Lisa?
Kristen, sorry, I stepped out into the hall. Did we announce that we're 4 away from the goal?
No, we didn't,
Let's
but
announce that. Three away.
we have an opportunity to receive the highest award that the National Federation of Republican Women has, and that's the Signers Award. And all we need are 3 more members, and we will achieve that status. So please help us, and it'll make our club on the forefront nationally. Thank you.
Jennifer, where's Jennifer? Jennifer. Alexis? Yeah.
Well, we still have money, so that's okay. I'm gonna be a mama bear right now. So Sunday is our cutoff for letting Abby Inn know how many reservations we had. We had 50. By Wednesday morning, we had 70. And that causes a problem with Abby Inn. And we need to be really gracious to these people because they don't make any money off of us. And so my suggestion to you is if you think you're gonna come in September for the evening, make a reservation tomorrow and let us know you're coming. Don't have to pay until closer to the time, but just get those reservations in, and we must have them in by Sunday night, even though a flyer goes out to remind people, and we're always open for some walk-ins, but not 20. So I was just being a mama bear today, so thanks.
Okay. Okay, I don't think we have a lot of announcements, which if you were here last month, you're gonna be so grateful for. I felt like those announcements went on forever last month. So, the biggest one is get out and vote. That's our big announcement. I also wanted, if you please pay attention to the newsletter. We are still trying to get help with our achievement awards and other positions. So if you're new to the club, if you've been in the club for a while, whatever the case may be, if you're willing to serve, we would love to have you help with our board. The more the merrier. We love this organization, and we definitely can't do it without all of your help. So just really appreciate that. Are there any other announcements from the party? I didn't have any other announcements. Yes, Lisa.
Maybe announce this, but do not use the mail as of today.
Right. Just use the Dropbox. If you are, today forward, just use the Dropbox so that we can make sure your ballots get counted. Okay. Yes.
I just want to give a shout out to you and the organization for hosting a wonderful debate.
Thank
between
you.
Malloy and Ryan.
Thank you. That was really wonderful. We really enjoyed, and I was so worried about the turnout because it was so close to the primary, but it was so encouraging to see so many citizens show up to engage and to be informed on their candidates on Tuesday night. So if you were there, thank you. It made my heart so full, and I loved it. So thank you, all of you. Yes.
This is from Abby Inn. they've asked us on your table are release forms because they are videotaping as a promotion for the video, for the Abby Inn. And so they need a release from all of us that are sitting here at the table. So if you look at your tables and find the paper and just sign it. Thank you.
All right, then I'm gonna introduce Jody Valentine, my vice president is going to go ahead and give us the rules of the debate and we'll get the party started.
So I'm going to just give you a very brief background on each of these men, and thank you so much for being here with us today. And then we're going to give them each 3 minutes to kind of tell you why you should vote for them. And then we're going to have question time. And we want you to, on the tables or the cards, we want you to fill out your question and then hold it up, and either Alexis or I will come and pick it up. Because we want you to get the information that you want and need to make your decision and be ready to vote, okay? And then at the end, we'll have about 2 minutes for each of them to just kind of wrap up anything else they want to add to what they have said. So we'll start at the end of the table. Gil and Jill and their 3 children and great-grandchildren, 8 great-grandchildren, all love Utah's Dixie. For 40 years, Gil owned and operated a successful small landscape business. He understands budgets, wise use of personal and public funds, and fights waste at every turn. Gil graduated from Dixie College and then received bachelor's and master's degree from BYU. Gil has served as St. George Planning Commissioner, which he was on with my husband. Actually got threatened back then that someone's going to kill him, and they, as a joke, they gave him shirts with a bullseye on them. It's funny. I mean, it wasn't at the time, but it is looking back at it. And he's been on the St. George City Council and is a Washington County Commissioner. Gil stands firmly by the principles of the Republican platform and defends the U.S. and state constitutions and promotes personal freedom. He has loved serving and representing the cities and towns of Washington County. Troy Belliston is a lifelong Washington County resident, small business owner, military veteran, and current Washington City Councilman. Troy and his wife Kimberly have raised their family in Washington County and built a successful construction business rooted in hard work, integrity, and responsibility. After serving in the U.S. Army, Troy returned home and built his business. Working firsthand through the challenges facing families and local businesses, as a city councilman, Troy has earned a reputation for asking tough questions and demanding accountability. He is excited to run for Washington County Commissioner. And a fun thing, when I was looking him up on the internet, I found out that you played football and basketball for Washington State.
Me?
Right? Yeah.
You got the wrong Troy Bellis.
Oh, okay. Well, the funny thing is that I looked up Troy Belliston
There is a Troy
candidate
Bellis.
for county commission, and that came up.
Yeah, well, there's 2 of us. I've never met him yet.
Oh. Okay.
Things you will
Well,
claim
it came
that
up with
can't
all
be.
the other stuff that came up about you. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill Hoster has lived a life of service to his country, to his community, and to the people who depend on him. Bill has served as a U.S. Navy corpsman, firefighter, paramedic, entrepreneur, and mayor of Leeds. Bill has served as the chair of the Fire District Board. He created the Youth Entrepreneurship Board in Leeds to mentor local youth. He has been a COO, national sales manager, and held director-level positions, helping organizations across the country turn around operations and improving strategies to support first responders. Bill also serves as a volunteer board member of the St. George Dinosaur Discovery Museum. Victor and his wife, Amy, both grew up in Washington County. They are the proud parents of 2 children and granddaughter. Victor attended Dixie College and graduated from SGU with a degree in political science. Notice how many came from here and went to Dixie and went to SGU. It's really awesome. He owned and operated a residential subcontracting business, giving him firsthand experience with small businesses, creating jobs, and the realities of working families. Victor served as Mike Lee's natural resource advisor, shaping and sharpening his commitment to protect Utah lands, livelihood, and communities from federal overreach. He also served on the Lubrican City Council. Victor has served as the chair of the Utah Associations of Counties Public Lands Committee and as the Utah Association of Counties president. And just as I've thought about each one of them have served in many ways in their area that they live in, for their country, in the community. And so I want to just give them all a round of applause. Continue serving us, and I'm sure in the future they'll all have many ways that they serve throughout the community. So, Alexis, have you gotten a question for us? Oh, wait a minute, sorry. You get your 3 minutes, sorry, guys. So let's just start, let Gil and come work our way down this way.
Gil, I think you'll have to come back here. Or you'll be off camera. Okay.
I'll give you this.
Camera's facing.
Okay, then Alexis, I'll share.
Thank you for saying that. I don't think this is on anymore.
Press and hold the ball.
Yeah, sorry.
Now,
Can we have y'all stay where you can be on camera? Because we have people watching online. Do you
Press and hold the
want to
ball.
hold it. Is
Okay,
that better? No.
No. Hold it a little longer.
here, take this one. This one's on. Take this one.
Okay, I can see myself on the laptop. So welcome to Republican Women's. I appreciate it. I was thinking just sitting here, I don't know when I've not been a member. I'm sure there was a day. But I can tell you through my political career, both as a city and now at the county, that this has been an important group to me to mix and mingle. And in fact, I'm hoping that somehow it sticks with others that I had already told at our State of the County that this was the group to join. If you remember that, anybody, that was sincere, and it still is. My wife is with me today, Jill, and I appreciate her being here. I remember once, probably a good 40 years ago, that I was told, if you have a firm place to stand and a woman who loves you, you can do anything. I'm here to tell you that came to pass. The firm place to stand is Dixie, and the firm wife that can love me still, right? I don't want to say anything false. As the incumbent, I was told you have to say the truth. As a challenger, I was told you can say anything. Anyway, but I love the truth that she loves me. And the firm thing that places down to do anything, well, I feel like starting a small business and accomplishing what I feel like. Drive around town and I say, oh, I planted that tree, or my crew did that yard or something. And even to this day, my grandkids say, hey, Grandpa planted that tree. Almost like, oh yeah, you've told us that 50 times. But I love serving in the county, and I have found that it is a full-time job. Even today, I was worried about ending one meeting to get down here early enough to put things on the table. But having said that, the accomplishments can be big and they can be little. Just yesterday, I was out in Hilldale, and the group that I was meeting with, fantastic, both candidates from Mojave County and Washington County. And I got a text, and it was a text of a picture of a road. And I thought, oh, well, what's this all about? Then I realized it's a little road up past on the west side of Hebron, Hebron Road, west side of Enterprise rather. And it was the newly plowed road by the county on some private land that would avoid a washout that had occurred and made the original road unstable and not even safe for some travelers. That was an accomplishment. It might be only 5 people, 5 homes that were affected by that. But that's a little thing. But when you graduate up to a big thing, for example, our jail, our county administrator was just out there to witness almost the completion of an expansion, the purpose of which was to keep our sheriff safe in booking, the purpose of which was to keep our nurses, our doctors, and our dentist that comes out there. By law, we have to take care of the health of those individuals in the jail. But I got to tell you, it wasn't necessarily perfectly safe for all of them. But now we have a jail where we can honestly say, hey, you come and you serve and you are helping these inmates, but at the same time, you are protected. Now our jail, we have 100 state inmates there. They're not felons, they're not the worst of the worst, but we get paid $85 a day to have them here by the state, which right now with 100, that's $3.1 million a year. The goal, Johnny can confirm this, Barry did with me, our acting sheriff, that their goal is 200 once the remodel is finished. That's $6.2 million of income that the jail has. The county has very few things that produce income. But otherwise, to run a jail, which we're mandated to have, we would have to go to our taxpayers to make up $6.2 million. We're just not gonna do that when we have this opportunity. There are so many things. I look at the CJC, I don't see a timer around, but just put a big axe up or something and then I'll stop.
You're close.
I just burned 5 of it. CJC, Children's Justice Center, it takes in the children that are abused. It is so difficult to get them past the mental and physical abuse that they experience as young as 3. And then as old as, in their 20s, you can still come and get care. But we added on there because it was also a necessary thing that we would take CARES Act. It's time that we have a good CJC. I like how you finished that for me. Thank you. Pass it down the
Next
road.
one's for Bill.
Just go right out up here. Okay.
As long as you can see yourself.
I know most of you. My name is Bill Hoster, and I think you've all heard my speech at least 4 or 5 times. So today I'm going to shake it up a little bit. I just want you to know a little bit about what brought me to here and why I feel like I just love to serve. So my career has been feckled with very challenging and stressful and important positions, from being a petty officer in the Navy to being a firefighter and a paramedic and a COO and CEO of turnaround companies. I'm going to tell you a couple stories. The first one, I was a pretty new paramedic. I'm working in Salt Lake City, and we went to the University Hospital to drop off a patient. And while I'm there, I get my big gulp. This was years ago when they served in the 7-Elevens. And I'm standing there and we get a page. Hey, the police department down the street has got a SWAT call. They need you to stand by. So we're 3 blocks away. Load our stuff up in the truck and head down there. Well, in one of these situations, this is a psychiatric patient inside the police station. And we're waiting. And that's typical of what happens. The police are going to secure the scene and then we'll go in. That big gulp caught up with me. And we're waiting, and I'm like, so I went up to the commanding officer and I said, hey, listen, I got to go to the restroom, buddy. Where do I go? And he says, just run around the front over the dispatch and they'll let you on in. I said, great. So I run over there. Dispatch, sure enough, she runs me down, left, right, left, takes me right into the restroom. There you go, sir. Great. Do my duty, walk out, and instead of going left, I went right. And I went right into the room where the psychiatric patient was. He's sitting right here, naked, slicing himself with a knife. And I've got 12 SWAT officers over here with weapons pointed at him in case he charges them. And I walked right into the middle of this. You can imagine. First thing that came out of my mouth, are you the guy that asked for a cigarette? He put down the knife and he said, yeah. And I said, let's go outside, buddy. So we did. Went outside, put a blanket on him, took him up to the hospital. No one got shot, no one got hurt. But it was one of those moments where you got to think like that. Next one. Y'all remember Salt Lake City before 2002, the I-15 luge? I was working that time. They tore up all of I-15. It was a disaster. And I get a call. I'm the supervisor that day. I'm in a command vehicle. And I get a call for a suicidal jumper. She's on I-15, 13 South overpass. And I said, great, I am right here. And I'm looking around. I throw it into 4-wheel drive. It's all mud. It's raining. I climb up onto the top in my command vehicle. And sure enough, 17-year-old girl standing out on the edge of the overpass. Fire shows up down below, PD. I don't see them, but I know they're there. I heard their sirens are different than ours. I flip on my overheads. I'm watching the patient. I'm talking to her through my
my bullhorn. It's not working. It's raining, it's mud. Mud is slicker than ice when you're out on this stuff. So I decided we're going for it. Back then, cell phones weren't all that great, but I took my cell phone with me, I took my radio with me, and I start walking out. She starts to tell me she's upset because her boyfriend dumped her. I said, let's get him on the phone. Come on, let's talk. I get the phone call. I call. Mom of the boyfriend answers and is just prolific with profanity of wanting this girl to jump. I'm holding this phone as tight as I can to my ear so she can't hear it. And I'm like, okay, so you love her and you need to see her again. And this lady is just screaming. And so I said to the girl, and I knew what I had to do. She was either going to take me with her, or I was going to fall, or she was going to fall with one bad slip up of the conversation. I just needed her to take one step to me. I looked over and I saw one of the SWAT officers, or the Salt Lake police officers, sitting down right below. He had snuck right up. She didn't know it. And so I said, come on, I need you to take this. I'm not going to die today. I'm not going off this ledge with you. I'm scared as hell. Please come take the phone. She takes the one step, grab her wrist, throw her down. Police come in and tackle her. Another situation where you're thinking like this, one wrong, people say this is hard. No, those were hard situations. The final story. Oh, you don't want to hear the last one? I'm just kidding. Okay, next time.
Come on, I wanted to hear that last story. It was going to get even better after that. So, anyway, you saved the best for last. You know, listening to Jody read our bios, I was kind of sitting there. I was wondering what that bio was going to be. I do want to announce that we are up to 5 grandchildren, so it's even better. So I definitely need to update my bios, that's for sure. So I first of all want to thank all of you for being here. And I'll tell you what, when I brag about Washington County, I say that the only thing that matches the beauty of our county, the natural beauty, is the goodness of our people. And when I say that, I think about great organizations like this. It's just tremendous. And so thank you for hosting us. Thank you for putting this on. You know, I thought that most of you, since you're politically active, would have already voted by now. But I was glad to hear that I still have some folks that are waiting to hear my brilliant arguments today. And so thank you for holding out. And I think that as you fill out your ballot today, the one thing that I've said over and over is that this election is about trust. It's about who you can trust to continue to lead this county in the way forward. And I would like you to judge me on my record and what I've been able to accomplish. I grew up here. This is my home. And I will say that my family, my parents, something that was practiced in my family was honesty, strict honesty. And it wasn't something that was enforced. It was just something my parents did. And I don't know, I was the youngest of 7 children. And I don't know that if my parents had just given up by then or not. But as long as I was strictly honest with my parents about my activity, and I did my chores, I had to do my chores first, I could pretty much do about whatever I wanted. And if there was ever a time that they were disappointed in me, if I just came forward and just told them the truth, it all seemed to work its way out. And so that's a policy that I live by. Even today, I love to read, I love audiobooks, but I will tell you, I am a nonfiction guy because the truth is every bit and better than fiction most times. And so during this election, I've seen certain things that have given me pause, given me concern. You know, things that are very provable. Things like, for example, Victor Iverson built a building for $70 million. It wasn't close, it was $31 million. Or something like this says we don't have transparency in this county. When I know that the person that's saying that has spent hours with our county clerk, gone over our budget, knows that our budget's online, knows that we are probably the most transparent county out of the 29 out there. Or another example is there's a sign redirecting people in our old county administration building because we now have the justice court and the federal courts there. And you have to go through metal detectors to get into the courtroom. I don't know if you knew that. That's kind of a new thing for us in the last 30 years. But at any rate, there's a sign out in front of the door that says no court access entrance. And there's a picture that's been taken of that sign that implies that you can no longer access the pickleball courts that we've opened up. There's also this claim that I received a 22% pay increase. I called up Ryan Sullivan. I said, where's my pay increase? Because the last time I voted, it was 5%. And it was the standard rate of elected officials were the lowest of any county commissioners of our standing. And the reason I tell that is I just think that honesty is important. And I believe that we're all adults, and it is an honor to represent you. And I hope that when you engage with me, you'll recognize that I am going to tell the truth to you and to the best of my ability. Like, in other words, if I know it, I'm going to tell you just how it is. There is sometimes I've been too honest to people, and I always am working on being better on the delivery, but you get the point. You know, I've heard it said that honesty is easier because it's easier to keep track of one story. As I get older and my memory is not as sharp as it used to be, I'm recognizing that honesty is also good because I can only remember the one story, right? The truth. And so I can't make something up and then remember it. But we live in a great county. And
It's time, so just can be.
Yes, I am going to save the next part of this story for my next 3 minutes.
Sorry, I think.
What was that?
I said, I want to hear all the stories are good, so.
But we want to allow.
I think all four of us are probably full of some really good ones. But, you know, your introduction was so great. I really appreciate it. Normally I get up here and start telling people, you know, where I'm from or what I've kind of been made of. But I appreciate the fact that I didn't even need to embellish my own story. So thank you. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. You know, a week or so ago, we had a debate out in Hurricane, and the subject of one of my deployments came up, and I got a little choked up. And hopefully I don't do that today. I normally don't have that issue, but I deployed in 96 to Bosnia. New Year's Day, 1996, went into Bosnia. So that country in 1984 was communist, socialist, and in 1984, they had the Winter Olympics there. Gorgeous country, beautiful place. By 1992, they went into civil war, and it was Muslims against Orthodox against Catholics, and they were killing each other over ethnic cleansing, religion, and everything else. And to see a country go from, you know, to see what communism and socialism can do to a country in 8 years is very sobering. And to spend a year in that country, keeping different people apart, dealing with the people and interacting with those people is very sobering. And I keep pictures of the kids in my office as examples of not only you know, what that can do to a country, or what that can do to a people, but also to humble myself and say, hey, look, we got it really good. And I bring this story up because, you know, as we go into, well, when we went into that country, just to give you an idea, I was on the first convoy going across the Sava River, and off to the right was an apartment complex. And if you've ever seen the Oklahoma City building, where the bombing blew out, it was cratered out, this building. And there was the apartment building next to us was like that. And they had put sheets of plastic up, and people were living there because they had nowhere else to go. In the whole year I was there, I don't think I saw a single building that wasn't shut up. But we would go to the chow hall, we'd get, you know, food, and we'd take it out to the kids, and we try to brighten people's lives to the extent we could. Again, I say that because this year is our 250th anniversary of the greatest experiment that's ever been played in politics. And so I think that as you go through the celebrations this year, and 4th of July is coming up, and Pioneer Day and all of that, if you'll get with your families and reflect on that, what that means for us here, because most countries don't have it. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Stopping my timer here. Okay, we're gonna start with a fun question because I like to throw people off, and I think this is great. So the question is, what is a talent possibly very few people know you have? And then there's a big smiley face that says, prove it.
Dancing.
Okay, we'll start with trying to back.
He played football.
On this
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew about the football, right? I don't even know how to answer that. Like, I'm usually pretty open. I mean, I think everybody has talents and things that they do. I'm very, I don't know if you want to call it creative, but not very creative. I couldn't draw a stick figure to save my life and win a hangman's game, but you know, I was a mechanic in the military. I've been in construction, and things fit together for me. And so I really enjoy, you know, how things fit together, what variables go into putting a project together in commercial construction, for example, right? To take an idea and then what variables have to come into that to create. Yeah, to create that project. Moving on.
Yes, 1 minute for these answers. The next one will be a little bit longer, so we'll get 2 minutes.
My goodness, that's listening to the radio is a really good talent I have. I love listening to the radio. I will tell you, I was just sitting there thinking, you know, I grew up on a hobby farm. I'm really good at milking goats. I know that sounds odd, you know, but I can milk goats, and well, I will tell you this. So, and my wife's shaking her head over there. So one of the first times we're out together, I was like, hey, watch this. And I squirted it across the milking stall and hit her. And she still hasn't let me live that down.
I'm not going to be able to prove it. I think few of you went to my daughter's wedding and got to hear me play guitar and sing for her. That's probably one of my talents most people don't know about. I've been doing that since I was 12 years old. So that's one of my, yeah,
Well, some people say that I'm not serious enough, and I do tell a lot of jokes because, especially towards Adam, because I like to punish him. We all know that. Well, something that you don't know is that I like to write, and I can prove it because I wrote my life story up to this point, and then I also wrote a book of short stories called Reflections that were things I've experienced all my life that have a positive outcome or something to learn from. And so I love to write. I have many things I continue to want to write. Probably the best writer in this whole room is Stephanie Jagger. She writes fiction and amazing work with her husband. But that's my talent maybe people don't know about, that is I like to write books.
Okay, this next question, we're going from fun to like serious and maybe harder to answer. And we're gonna give you like 2 minutes because this one you could probably take 10 on, okay? What are the top 3 things you want to accomplish over the next 4 years in office? And what have you personally done to advance these objectives? So let's start with, and we'll go back down that way.
It's like elementary school, A again.
Yeah.
First of all is water. I definitely have had the opportunity to expand the systems that we have and to approve the many things that we're doing. For example, we're the only county in the entire state that's building any reservoirs. So when you hear Salt Lake boo-hooing about, well, they didn't plan very well. I'd like to see the completion of our reuse piping because we need to transfer water from the west to the east, from the north to the south. We need to make sure that that's taken good care of. I like public safety because I want to go out at night. I want to feel like I can go anywhere at any time and feel safe. And sometimes I'm out late. Last night picking up a sign that I had the city tore down, and I picked it up, and guess what? There were so many police out last night. I loved it. They were looking for somebody lost that was in a wheelchair, and they were just scouring every building around the river road to try and find that individual. You asked for another, certainly roads. I'd love to see the northern corridor. I'm tired of the boulevard being packed. I want to have our air clean. I don't like parked vehicles. And it's not going to be houses and commercial. It's a parkway. It's just going to be a beautiful drive. I think that was 3. So here we go. Thank you.
I think the first one is going to be economic development. I've really preached this. I'm really good at it. And here's the reason why I think we need economic development going on in Washington County is we have jobs, but when we get government out of the way and we allow the open market to prosper and we allow competition to occur, it raises wages. We can keep our kids here. They're our biggest export right now. And so my ability to do that has been proven in many of the turnover companies that I've done, or turnaround companies. So that's one. The other is transparency. Transparency, in my opinion, is huge. I've had a lot of people come after me for being too transparent. I don't think government could ever be too transparent. When we're talking about your tax dollars, what's happening, what we're going to do next, and getting the input from all of you. You are the minds. We just receive the information here and try to facilitate it and make it happen. And then get your feedback on that, pivot if we need to, and that's exactly what CEOs and executives do. The rest of this, I really, really want to make sure that our kids know this is a great party. This is the way that Utah or Washington County is going to stay Dixie, that we're going to be able to remain this conservative neighborhood where our kids want to stay. They're gonna feel safe, but we've got to really get more programs that are involved with those kids on entrepreneurship, like we did in Leeds, other things that are going to also keep them here and trying to create that development and prosperity. Thank you.
I think this is a great question, and I've already told a lot of you, this will be my last term if I'm lucky enough to win your support and endorsement. But the 3 areas that I really want to spend time focusing on, obviously we've talked about water. I believe water is an intergenerational development. In other words, the water development that we do today will bless the lives of our grandchildren and future generations. We're working a lot on this 20-year plan. We've been very involved. I'm on the Water District Board. As a county commissioner, we took some of the resources that they sent to us after COVID and we put it towards the Chief Toka Reservoir. They were able to take that $5 million that we gave to the Water District towards the reservoir and get over $20 million of federal grants to finish that. We're moving forward. The second thing is transportation. Obviously, as we've grown, we're all kind of recognizing that our plans, our transportation is starting to get overloaded. So the Northern Corridor we talk about a lot, but SR9, being a county commissioner that can advocate, it needs attention going into Hurricane for those of us who travel that. So we need to focus on that. The third thing is related to transportation, but also the quality of life, our trail systems. We've been doing very good working with our cities, investing that. That's been something that we've really focused on. We have a staff that are dedicated to trails. But the one trail that I think we can get really close to in the next 4 years, not completely, but probably almost finished, is that trail that will take somebody on a paved trail from Santa Clara to Springdale. We are really closer than you think when we think about we have the money and resources to go from Laverton to Springdale, and then we're going to connect Laverton and Hurricane, and then we'll just have that last missing link between the backside of Washington to Grandpa's Pond. But those are the 3 areas that I really want to focus on in the next 4 years.
I think it's super easy to say, roads, trails, water, whatever. I think all of us, that's very important too. But I think first things first is you got to get the basics. Transparency was mentioned. That's always been an issue for me. At Washington City, When I first came on, if you wanted to see what was on the agenda, you'd have to go in and look behind the glass. And if you wanted a record, you have to pay the 10 cents for the 8.5 by 11. And so the documents really weren't out there. And so in 2018, we started putting all the public records out in the public sphere and putting all the agendas in and out. And we put them out in a week in advance rather than the 24-hour notice in advance. And now we have all those timestamped back to the minutes. So you can go in and you can pull the agenda up and click on it, go back to the conversation. And as a council member, I use that on a regular basis. So I think getting public records public and getting that out to the people and being more open with the folks. We also expanded noticing so that we would let more people know what we were doing and bringing people into that conversation. The budget was mentioned a minute ago. Up until this year, it was only the executive summary that was online. The full budget's been put out since convention. Well, that's only happened in the last month and a half. Those records need to be out, and they need to be out there, and they need to be pushed out to people and bring them in. I think the second thing is, I get really frustrated when I hear commissioners say, well, we represent the unincorporated areas. Fact of the matter is, they administer zoning and ordinances for the unincorporated area, or zoning, pardon me. But they're all of our county commissioners. We're all within the county. So I think it's that mindset of, hey, we are really part of the cities. And I think we need to look at when the tourism dollars go out, that those are spread fairly and equitably throughout the communities, because Hilldale isn't in a position to compete with St. George, and Enterprise isn't in a position to compete with Washington. And so that sometimes the smaller communities get left out of that conversation. And then I think just for fun, one thing that's been...
Hey, we're out of time, but we might get another question. Sorry, you were the only one that the timer went off on.
Really? I didn't know I was that long-winded.
I'm going to put these next two questions together because I think that we're only going to need a minute to answer both of them. So the first is, do you have any conflicts of interest? The second is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being ultra conservative and 1 being liberally conservative, where would you rank yourself? We'll start with Troy.
Is that all in 1 minute?
That's all in 1 minute.
I'm going to talk really fast then. I love the fact that honesty was brought up a minute ago, because there was a message that went out last Friday that says, I have serious questions of conflict of interest and I've benefited from sweetheart land deals, is how it was put. I'd like my competitor to call me out and tell me what those were, right? Because there's not a single person elected to office that doesn't have a conflict of interest. Not one of us. But every time I've had anything that financially gained, the state statute says we have to declare it. And then at the state level, they're actually compelled to vote on it. In my case, I've always recused myself. I've taken the further step to step off the council and step into the audience when anything comes up. That really matters to me. Right now, you have 2 commissioners up here that both sit on boards of directors of entities that receive millions of dollars in taxpayer dollars, right? That is a conflict of interest today, and it's a culture of conflict of interest because you have senior staff that sit on boards as well that receive taxpayer dollars, and that puts those private entities at a competitive advantage to the cities that are having to come and request the same dollars. I shouldn't have to compete with a private organization for my taxpayer dollars to benefit my residents.
Sorry, that's the time, but did you give the 1 to 10 on conservatism? Like if you...
9.
Okay, perfect, all right.
Well, I must respond a little bit. So my opponent here, there is a letter that was sent out in 2017 to SITLA advocating for Belliston Construction to receive a development agreement for the very property that is now going to be sold for tens of millions of dollars. And that's fine, but he was on the council at the time. It was the mayor that signed it. I'm just saying, let's be honest here. Back to the boards that I sit on, it's Liberty Village. It's celebrating America. It's building a great celebration and planting the flag that Washington County is America's county. It's not a conflict of interest to stand for freedom. It's not a conflict of interest to stand for what you believe in. And just because I sit on the board and just because I advocate for something, I sit on a lot of boards. That's part of being a county commissioner. So as far as conflicts of interest, I used to be an office watcher and I don't hold that against me, but the only conflict is maybe how much I actually love my county. It's kind of like Michael Scott. I want you to fear how much you love me. But I just mean that as if you want to talk about what I really love and what really drives me and what motivates me, it's the love of this county and to make a place that my children can live. I a lot of times joke about my political spectrum. I say I hold the right wing of the Republican Party. If you're on the right of me, you're crazy. Or I just mean that. I mean, what I mean is I consider myself a constitutional conservative.
So can you give us a 1 to 10? Sorry, that's time.
It'll be a 10. I'm a 10-ster. I'm a Trumper and I'm a 10.
Okay.
Conflicts of interest. I think it was well said that everyone has some sort of conflict of interest. Being transparent about it is essential. I do own a tech company. I'm actually a shareholder in that company. I'm not involved in any of the day-to-day stuff that has sold stuff to fire departments across the globe. And I actually had someone try to say that I had a conflict of interest because they buy RFID tags from our company, even though we disclose it by law all the time. And so those sorts of things are probably the extent of my conflict of interest. The question about being a conservative, I'm going to say 11.
Good answer. It's like Run America's Got Talent. Well, I can tell you that being a landscaper for 40 years is identical to the issues of whether there is conflicts or not, and you have to disclose that. But I sold my company on purpose because at the county, you don't want to even have anybody doubt that you are independent, that you are working for the citizens, and that there aren't any, hidden agendas. And I can honestly say there aren't. I filled out my form that discloses conflicts of interest, and I listed Tuacahn because I'm on that board. And so therefore, there's already things in place that Tuacahn does get a certain portion by law for another 7 years of TRT money, just because they struggled at the beginning, and that was something that now has resulted in something we all enjoy. At the same time, I sit on Dixie Tech's board. Well, there's no pay there, and there's certainly, they don't necessarily ask for the county's money, but one time they did, and that's been all paid off. Because sometimes we do need to help fledgling things get support. We're gonna be asked.
Time, sorry.
10.
Time's up. I'm so sorry.
10.
I feel so bad for but we only going to go on for 30 minutes.
That's all right.
We still have more questions. So your answer kind of leads into the next one. Do you feel TRT funds are distributed equitably?
Yes.
What is it?
And here's the question.
Oh,
Transient room
someone asked what
tax.
are TRT funds?
Right, transient room tax is the taxes collected from visitors who come here. And to tap into that money, you have to have a project that also benefits tourists. The nice thing about it is we can use TRT money for trails. We can use TRT money for things that we use every day. And yet the tourists paid for it. But you have to go before a TAB board, which is, I'm being told to be thank you, Mr. DeMille. You have to go with an application. It has to be justified. This board has one commissioner on it, but all the rest are hoteliers, are professionals that deal in the tourism field, other electeds. But the point being is that it's not a giveaway. The question was, is it distributed fairly? I asked Hilldale, who's going to have a wonderful program out there. Have you ever applied for TRT money? And the mayor told me, no. I said, get it in. They're meeting. You need to get it in. I don't care if it's 5,000 or 5 million, whatever, you have to apply. So we're trying to reach out into those rural areas that don't necessarily generate a lot, but believe me, as Hilldale's growing, they're going to produce a lot of TRT eventually. And of course, tourists matter a lot in our area. It saves us $1,500 off our property taxes. Take all the tourists away, your taxes will go up.
Okay, thank you. That's perfect. Right on time. He got a little extra time because we needed him to explain for those who didn't know what TRT was. So, okay, go ahead.
So the question was, are TRT funds, is TRT revenue distributed fairly? No, it is not. It is legislated from our state legislature what you can and cannot spend that money on. They don't know Dixie. They don't know that we've got a lot of people already coming here with some of the things. I think the local people should be deciding how that money gets distributed. I don't think that it should be up to the legislature to make that dictate. And so I would ask that that were changed.
So, yes, it is. Let me just tell you the story. When I first became a county commissioner, one of the first conversations that I remember having was with St. George City Manager Gary Esplin. And at the time, Jim Eardley, some of you might remember Jim Eardley, one of our long-serving county commissioners. And it was about this very argument. And a few months later, I proposed the idea that I think has really helped our county. We've started taking that portion that we can invest back into mitigation for the visitor economy in with our city partners. And since then, we have invested well past $40 million back into our community, building trails, building gymnasiums over in Hurricane, working with the university to have the Greater Zion Stadium. These are all venues that we can now use and celebrate. I don't remember an application that we've turned down that has come through that tab board. I sit on the tab board, like Gil said, but I'm not a voting member because I'm not a taxpayer into it. It's made up of hoteliers. It's made up of restaurant owners.
Sorry.
And so.
I'm so sorry. I feel like the bully on the school report.
Well, somebody's got to keep these four in line, right? I think that's part of the resentment of a lot of the cities and a lot of the different communities is because they don't feel like they're being brought into the conversation. They say, well, you have to make an application or you have to have a good reason for it. I think it's an obligation of the county commission and the tab board in general to say, how do we get these dollars out? For example, the PGA Tour is over at Black Desert. Well, I believe it ought to be at Copper Rock and it ought to be at Ledges too. And it ought to be at Green Springs possibly to get that out into the different communities, into the different areas. So the benefit is shared amongst the whole of the county, not one project.
Okay, good job. Less than a minute. All right, this is great. We can get more questions and we're gonna have time for maybe just one more question and then we'll let y'all do closing statements if that's good. Okay, the last one. Is there room for cuts in spending in our county? Where?
There's always room for cuts, right? I was in the military. One of the things in the military was when you go to the range, there's a pallet of ammunition and you're looking at that and they say, well, go shoot it up. Why are we doing that? Because if you don't shoot it up, you're not going to get the money back. I've been critical of the county building. Well, I don't think the county commissioners needed their private bathrooms, right? I don't think they needed a private patio that looked out over the pickleball courts that were kept under lock and key. I think there's always things you can do. I think, quite frankly, though, the pickleball courts is a great thing. It just needs to be fully open to the public to pay for them, right? But there's always things you can do in government. Say, how do we streamline this? How do we make this more efficient? How do we get those costs down? That's what a contractor does. Every project I get is how do I streamline those costs? And how do I reduce cost overall? And so I can maximize my dollar and make it go as far as possible for myself and in my city, and certainly for the county as a county commissioner.
I think it's inherent on anybody who is elected office to restrain the growth of government. And that's what we've done. That's what I've done as a county commissioner. That's the reason why the Utah Taxpayers Association, unsolicited, has listed Washington County as the lowest tax county in the state, as well as the best run county in the state. The reason why is we ask critical questions. The cost of government often grows, not by things that you build, but by employees and expansion of departments and agencies. And so we work very hard with our elected officials, with our department heads to make sure that when we have to hire somebody, that it's somebody that we need. We actually have a person who works, we've just barely brought on to kind of be our Doge and our efficiency person, to be out there talking to our elected officials and our department heads. Obviously, if you build an expansion on the jail like we just did, that'll meet our needs for the next 25 years, that's 13 plus correction officers that we're going to need. We're not going to shortchange our sheriff on that, but we are going to ask a question of other people, other departments, and hold the cost down. What I'd like to say to this is the government always needs to be efficient, and I've proven that over the time that I've been a county commissioner for you.
Perfect. I'm up.
Anybody ever heard of Six Sigma? Maybe. So Six Sigma is a method that was really kind of perfected by the Japanese. One of our actual engineers in the US did this after World War II, and there's always room for efficiency, improvement. Technology today is actually creating so many opportunities to make improvements on efficiency and reducing costs. When we look at those sorts of things, it's changing all the time. No one can just sit back and say, I'm set. That's not our reality, that's not our world. So the answer is always, we can be looking at those things.
Thank you. I've got to be honest with you that we look at this every day. We look at procurement. Are we getting the best deal? We have to hire sometimes outside. It helps the economy, of course, if we hire people to do things for the county. But they have to be competitive. And we've realized over the last 8 years, maybe we've been ripped off a little bit. And we're just, we're getting down to the brass bones about what can you do. We have competitive bidding. We also make sure, quite frankly, that what assets we do have are productive. We're redoing the Boulevard building up there, and it's going to cost us some money, which we're taking out of ARPA and other funds that we had in our building fund. But we're renting it out leasing it to the federal government. In 14 years, we're going to have a building that is crushing it for income that they paid for by leases. That's going to help all of us when the time comes that we're able to make money off of that building from the investment that we're making now. That will be a cost savings, even though it's into the future. I also turn off lights in the county building, by the way, when people are still there.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. You've been amazing, and thank you for all the questions that you've asked. And now we're going to give you each 2 minutes. There was a question that we were unable to get to about water conservation and a water commissioner. So if you have anything you closing remarks that you want to say about that, that's a question we didn't get to. So, but you have 2 minutes. So, Troy, do you want to go first? No? Oh, started here, so it's Gail's turn. Okay.
All right. Well, there's something on your table, America's County. If you want to know about me, you read every single one of those whereases, because that's my heart. There were 5 of us who all contributed to what each line was. And I typed it up one night, I added mine in there. But if you want to know what the current commissioners, as well as Eric Clark and others, all contributed, you read that. And I can promise you, you'll get a glimpse of who I am. I want to also make an announcement, July 2nd, come to the county building. We'll get the word out through chambers, maybe Republican women can help do it. There'll be a surprise there for everyone, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. So, CVS, similar to Walgreens, that's what I stand behind. The C stands for Constitution. I had to raise my arm to the square to say I defended the Constitution of the United States and the state of Utah, and I still do. V stands for value. We all go shopping. Do you want to buy the Foodie Club pears, which we know 2 or 3 of them are going to be hard as a rock, or are we going to spend more to get a quality product by buying the Del Monte, where every pear is going to be soft and luscious? You know, we care about value in our county. And S of CVS is stability. I have always thought you have to have a stable government. Victor's proved it with the data that has come from an independent group that has said, this is the stable example of government in Utah for the county. CVS, I hope that you'll remember that, because the Constitution, the value you're getting from your incumbents, and the stability that we all witness. This boat is not sinking. This boat is sailing across the water. That's why we're noted as a beautiful place to come to with stable government. Thank you. Ask for your vote.
You want to hear the last story? This one's actually, I think, a little better about my representation, and that was a company turnaround. Company turnarounds take a lot of hard decisions. You have to make tough decisions. You have to know people's families and the ramifications that are going to happen. And that's what I think we have going forward in the next 4 years here. We can't be looking in the rearview mirror. We got to be looking down out the windshield. We've got infrastructure issues that are coming up, federal funds that have dried up. We've got tax issues that are going to be happening. Right now, we're at a historical high on our budget. We're using the savings to balance the budget. We're kind of gambling a little bit there. We need somebody in the seat now who's got that experience, who understands finance, who understands economic development, and who's going to be able to make those tough decisions effectively to preserve and protect all that we have built so far. I think it's been done wonderfully so far up to this point. We've got new challenges. We need new blood. We need new minds taking care of these problems ahead of us. I'm Bill Hoster, and I'll ask for your vote. Thank you.
Friends, thank you for being here. I hope you've had as much fun as I have. It's been fun to be here. I will tell you that I'm going to start where I'm going to end where I start. This election is really about trust. And I would like you to judge me on the record that I've given, the service that I've given, the fact that I've kept taxes low, I've paid off debt, I've built important infrastructure that was necessary. I mean, our old administration building was 66 years old. It was built in 1966 when we had 10,000 people in the community. And so we needed to build a new building. We built a building that will last for 100 years. There's an entire floor that is open space. We did that without debt, which I think is pretty incredible. We built all of our buildings without debt, and we've done that by being frugal and disciplined with the budget. I will say that I think Washington County, the next 4 years, we're kind of at a crossroads. There's important decisions that are going to need to be made, and we need to preserve our public safety, our quality of life. And I believe that I have the experience to continue to lead for the next 4 years in this, what I consider will be a transitional time in our county. I want to say, as much as I like campaigning, no, that was dishonest. I'm going to get back to that honesty part. But I do need to tell you that this process is very good for those of us that go through it. It's important for us to engage together as citizens, talk about our common thoughts. And I want you to know, as you, Mark Victor Iverson for Washington County Commission Seat B, that I represent you. And it's an honor to represent you. And I will listen, and I'll continue to listen for the next 4 years. And thank you so much for being a fellow citizen in America's County in Washington County. Thank you.
I have a history of, a lot of times people will write speeches on, opening or closing speeches or whatnot. As a kid, I never really was a good public speaker, so I kind of have a history of ad-libbing it a little bit. So tonight I'm going to ad-lib it, or today I'm going to ad-lib it. This is the last meet and greet we're going to have. So I want to close with this. I know that a lot of people have said towards me, I'm a contractor, I'm a dirty developer. I'd rather be a dirty developer than a career politician, so thank you, I appreciate that. I think that my background does lend well to the planning process, long-term planning process, and budgets and things like that at any level. I think it's important. I think it's important to be real wherever you're at. I want to close, instead of talking about myself, I want to thank these three gentlemen. I want to extend a personal thanks to Victor for allowing me the opportunity to run against him, and for Bill for giving me the opportunity to get to know him a lot better, and for Gil for his long-term friendship that I've had over the years. So I think I really appreciate them. I appreciate this process, and I really appreciate all of you that came out today. Thank you.
Well, you gentlemen all did wonderful, and I think that every single person in this room will agree on one thing, that we live in the best country in the world, the best state in that country, and the best county in that country. And I thank God every day that so thank you so much, and thank you guys for coming, and thank you for the wonderful questions. You are the ones that make this party, this Republican women group, successful and wonderful. Do you have anything you want to add?
That was wonderful. Thank you, Jody. Thank you to our candidates who were willing to sit in the hot seats. I've been getting texts throughout the debate that this is the best debate we've ever had. So thanks for the fireworks, gentlemen. It was really enjoyable, really fun to watch, and I'm sure that the people online were equally entertained as well. So I again appreciate everyone coming out. I do want to remind y'all that we will not be meeting again until September. So we have a dinner as a kind of like our big kickoff to the fall. So it won't be a luncheon, it'll be a dinner, but look for details on that because we try to make the September event really, really fun. So you enjoy the rest of your summer, enjoy a beautiful July 4th celebrating, especially America's 250. Enjoy all of that time celebrating our country and celebrating with your families. And I just need a motion to adjourn. Thank you.
I get your reservations in tomorrow.
We'll see y'all in September. Thank you.